So we're back here with another video, man. Today we're going to be doing a different type of video yet again. We're going to be talking about the pack drops over the course of the year in NBA 2K25 Myteam, kind of just looking back at this game as a whole, man. So yeah, I mean, without further ado, let's just get into it. Before we do start though, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave a like on the video, man. That is always very, very much appreciated. With all that being said, let's start going over the pack drops, man. This is going to be kind of similar to the card art video. We're going to go season by season, kind of talk about these pack drops, how good they were for their time, and kind of just detailing them, man. There's going to be some that we're going to skip over because there was a lot of, somewhat irrelevant pack drops, if I do say so myself. But yeah. So season one as a whole, we had pink diamonds as kind of the top tier, and the pink diamonds were pretty unattainable. Like they were pretty impossible to pull. It's kind of like how GOAT cards were, like maybe like a month ago or so. So the pink diamonds were absolutely elite, but they were super, super hard to get. So nobody had them. This LeBron went for like a million MT day one. And as far as the day one card, man, the longevity of this card, you can still use this pink diamond LeBron today. I mean, you're not going to have as much success as you would with a lot of cards, but the fact that he is still usable today, as far as like a rim running type card, is absolutely insane, man. I mean, probably for a day one card, the biggest longevity that we have ever seen. And this card was actually popping up on breakout boards for some people. Apparently, this was kind of a thing throughout the year where the top card that was available at the time would pop out on breakout boards, but he was just like ultra, ultra rare. But it was a thing. There was people that took screenshots of it and everything. I've seen some people these days be getting like go cards on their breakout boards. I've seen Goat Vince Carter. So definitely an interesting situation as far as that goes. But yeah, this pink diamond LeBron, man, for the longevity of him, impossible to pull, but he was the best card in the game, I would say, for a while, man. And the 3-point royalty set, Kyle Korver was probably the best card. Not really too notable, though. Kiki Vandeweghe was actually decent because he was going for like under 100K, and he was decent for that price, I would say. And then we move over to the Power Surge, which was the next Friday drop. Karl Malone is pretty mid, but of course Curry and Kareem super, super good. But again, like just next to unobtainable, I would say. This 90s edition set was really, really mid. And then we move over to the Ironclad set. This pack drop was a little bit hyped up, man. I remember a lot of people ripping these packs. And I remember a couple hours after the packs dropped, like the packs dropped like 9 a.m. or whatever time it is. And like 3 hours after, so at like noon or something, people were looking at the auction house and there was like 4 or 5 Gary Paytons, one Scottie Pippen, and 0 Michael Jordans. So that kind of gave us an idea of what we were going to see as far as weighted pack odds throughout the year, man. And people were definitely pulling these diamonds. I remember seeing some diamond Dwight Howard pulls, some diamond Chet Holmgren pulls, of course, Chris Paul being kind of the troll card. But people were pulling all of these diamonds pretty consistently. It seemed like if you opened like a 20 box, you'd be getting one of these diamonds. But the pink diamonds were pretty much just like unheard of, man. All of them going for well over 500K. Just so, so rare. Pippen and Jordan were great cards. Gary Payton was the troll card. NBA All-Star history, pretty mid-pack drop here. Not too much to talk about there. And then we will move over to the barbecue bucket set. Kind of the same thing. People were pulling DeRozan's. People were pulling Bradley Beal. Purvis Short was kind of the troll pull. AK seemed to be the rarest diamond overall. And then the pink diamonds, just absolutely impossible to pull. All three of these pink diamonds, though, were very, very good for their time. Dukes of Dunk set, pretty, pretty mid overall. Not too much to talk about there. Dunktober set, I mean, we had Pink Diamond D-Wade, Pink Diamond Giannis, Pink Diamond Paul George. Paul George and Giannis were absolutely elite for their time. Wade was also very, very good. But it's just kind of a recurring theme with these sets, man. It's the same thing with the Stealth set. Pretty much for season one as a whole, the diamonds were getting pulled. The pink diamonds were pretty much impossible to get, even though, of course, they were the best cards in the game. And then the 70s edition set, Artist Gilmore is really good for early game. But yeah, man, that's pretty much what we had going on with season one as a whole. And it kind of continued into season two. Poetry in Motion set, Kevin Durant, one of the best cards in the game. Top of the class, Dr. J. I think up to this point, you could argue that Pink Diamond LeBron was still the best card until this Pink Diamond Dr. J dropped. This card was so, so good for his time. and was usable for months afterward. You could still have success with this card up to this day, which is just absolutely insane. Hoop Invaders. I mean, all of these cards, diamonds getting pulled. There's some decent diamonds. Pink diamonds just impossible to pull. And then we had Pink Diamond Wemby, who is still a card that people run in their lineups to this day. Just pretty much impossible to pull again, though. 2000s edition, pretty mid. This laser focus set was kind of a W. I remember Troy Dan opened these packs, and he opened up, like 20, because there was no 50 box at this point in the year. There was only the 20 boxes were still the highest tier of boxes that you could open. There was no 51 box. There was no guaranteed pulls. And he opened up like 20 boxes and only got one pink diamond, and it was this pink diamond Tyler Hero, who was actually probably kind of the troll pull out of these four. So that just gives you an idea of how bad the odds are. Barons of Ball, pretty mid. But then we started getting into the point where, like, we had Galaxy Opal Jason Tatum, who was the first Opal that was pullable. And we actually started at this point, it got to the point where, of course, the Opal was pretty much impossible to pull. Same with the Aura set with Anthony Edwards. But this is kind of at the time where Pink Diamonds started to seem to be a little bit more common. Like Ty Debo and some of the big YouTubers that were winning King of the Court were opening up 20 boxes and such to pull for these cards, and they actually started to get some pink diamonds. So this is when the odds started to shift just a little bit, man. Myteam Festival, really nothing too notable here, to be honest with you, man. All of these cards pretty mid. Mic Drop, kind of the same thing. Jalen Brunson, Galaxy Opal, undersized point guard. We started getting to the point where there were some pretty mid drops here, man. This Dwight Howard and Vince Carter card were both really, really good, though. Knockdown Knights, Ray Allen was really, really good, but very, very, very hard to pull. Joakim Noah was decent. And then we move over into the Swish set, where this may have been the first set where the Pink Diamond was actually better than the Opals in Kristaps Porzingis. He was definitely, I would say, probably the best card in this set. Lords of Leaping, very, very mid set as well. Some of these Season 3 drops, man, are just so mid. This Galaxy Opal Kareem, absolutely elite. This Pink Diamond SGA, absolutely elite, man. And then the Tis the Season. We know, what we're getting with Tis the Season every year. We're going to get a juiced up pack drop. It's going to be the best cards that we have seen up to this point. You had Galaxy Opal Curry and Giannis, Galaxy Opal LeBron and Penny, which these Opals a little bit easier to pull than Opals prior, but still pretty much impossible to pull at the end of the day, man. And then we always get like our Opal Jordan, our Dark Matter Jordan. They've done that the last couple years where he is the highest tier. I know that it was like that in 2K23, where it was actually Galaxy Opal Jordan, and then like Curry, LeBron, and everything were pink diamonds. And I actually ended up pulling the Galaxy Opal Jordan, but did not see any of the pink diamonds. So that was kind of interesting. But then we move on to Season 4. I would say that things started to ramp up a little bit, but they really didn't, man. We started to get pullable Dark Matters that were absolutely impossible to pull, such as, Dr. J was the first one here. All four of these Opals, probably not Zion, but the other three Opals. John Morant, a little undersized, but still elite for his size. And then Thompson and Chamberlain, absolute beasts of cards, man. Galaxy Opal Grant Hill, really, really good defensive type card there in the explosive set. Then we had the Showstoppers set. Galaxy Opal Kevin Durant, absolutely elite, probably the best card in this set. Spin Cycle, we had Galaxy Opal Kyrie and Galaxy Opal Wes Unseld, Gordon Hayward. All of the Tuesday drops, though, just really kind of mid, I mean, to be honest with you. But then we had this Sweetness set. Dark Matter James Harden was absolutely elite for his time. All four of these Galaxy Opals were absolutely elite for their time. And there's actually some really, really good Pink Diamonds in this set, too. Pink Diamond Big Z, absolutely elite. Pink Diamond Cat, really, really good. So this is maybe, I guess, when you could sort of start to say that things started to ramp up. And then we had these two bigs here, Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol. In that set, the Lunar New Year set, we had Dark Matter Scottie Pippen, man. He was really, really good for his time, but super hard to pull. We had Allen Iverson as the troll pull out of these four Opals. Then move into the Locked In set. This set's really, really mid. Not too much to talk about there. Warp Zone. Now, this was a pretty hyped up set. This was a set that Troy Dan also opened an ungodly amount of packs. There was a lot of packs ripped for this Warp Zone set, man. We had Dark Matter Hakeem, who was pretty much impossible to pull, of course. We had Galaxy Opal, Zach Levine, and Paul George were absolutely elite, as well as Paulo. Pete Maravich was pretty mid, but I believe that with Troy Dan again, probably like 2020 boxes or so, only was able to pull like Pink Diamond, Reggie Theus, Sean Elliott. I don't think that he saw any Galaxy Opals or Dark Matters. So the pack odds this year, man, are just, they're pretty bad. I mean, there's no doubt about that. This finesse set, really, really mid. Then we move over into the All-Star set. Now, this set was just absolutely insane because we had 10 Dark Matters, all of which, besides, Jalen Brunson, Tatum, Curry, pretty mid, kind of troll pools. Same with Donovan Mitchell, but SGA, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Giannis, all of these cards were, some of the best cards in the game at this time, man. And then we also had some really, really good opals as well. This set was just absolutely juiced, man. So, and that's kind of, things ramp up at Christmas, things ramp up a little bit for All Star weekend. So that's kind of what we had going on there. And then season 5. This is when we had our first pullable 100 overalls for every single one of these sets. There was besides the heroic set, there was a cartoon kind of 100 overall that was just absolutely impossible to pull in each of these sets. I feel like I'm getting repetitive with that, but I feel like I just got to say it because no one was pulling these 100 overalls, man. They were all over a million MT at the time that they came out. All three of these Dark Matters for their time were very good. Gary Payton was actually like a really good 3 hunting card. He got outdated pretty quickly, but he was good like right when he dropped. This Inevitable set, this Dark Matter Chet Holmgren, Dark Matter LaMelo Ball, absolutely elite, man. Lamar Odom was horrible though. And with these 100 overalls, I know, I talked about it a little bit already, but all of them were absolutely elite. All these 100 overalls were like the best cards in the game. So just so you guys know, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys were aware. This one was really mid, though. All three of these Dark Matters were pretty bad in the radioactive set. So everyone was just ripping for Shaq, and no one really cared about any of the Dark Matters. But then in the Apex set, we had Dark Matter Kareem, a card that you can still use to this day. Man, the other Dark Matters in this set were pretty mid, but this Apex Kareem, you can still run him as your big to this day. If you have especially if you have badges and a shoe on him, man, this card can still run and be an elite center for you. Like seriously. Chris Webber and Devin Booker are the two worst 100 overalls. Out of these, Luka wasn't that great as well. You're kind of looking for like Jordan, Shaq, Kristaps were the 3 best, and then the 3 that ended off the season were the worst. And those ended up actually the next season and the season after ended up kind of being troll pools in the Hoff boxes. People were getting really mad because they were getting duplicate unauctionable Chris Webbers as well as Devin Bookers. But then we move over to the bracket busters. All 3 of these Dark Matters were pretty good. Lonzo Ball is probably the worst out of them, but Adam Morrison and David Robinson for their time were just absolutely elite. And there was some good Galaxy Opals in this set as well. Jalen Rose was really good. Shane Battier was a really, really good 3 and D type of card, man. So a lot of depth in that bracket busters set. And then in the torpedo set, this is actually when I started playing the game. These packs were in the market when I started playing the game this year. I did play in season 1, but I quit towards the second half of season 1. And then I came back when these were the packs in the market, man. And Dark Matter Kawhi was kind of the card that everybody was looking for, possibly even over 100 overall Devin Booker. This card was so good for his time. Then we move into season 6, possibly the best season for packs, man. Because we got a little bit of, that nostalgia high from all these drops, which is always a W. For each set, we had 2 100 overalls, which honestly still ultra rare, but I don't think that they were as rare to see as the 100 overalls were in season 5. You started seeing a few more people pulling some 100 overalls this season. T-Mac was like close to 5 million MT, a card that I still use to this day because he is just a slightly worse Invincible T-Mac, and I still think Invincible T-Mac's a top 25 card in the game. So yeah, I still use 100 overall T-Mac, man. Penny Hardaway was also elite for his time. And then just this fan favorite, this was by far the best drop we had seen up to this point, man, because Danny Granger was really, really solid. Bol Bol kind of sucked, but he was still like 300, 400 KMT, super rare. And then Tim Thomas, man. Tim Thomas, he got outdated a little bit. He's probably, you could still have a little bit of success with him today, but probably outdated at this point. But this card for his time, so good. And then we move over into the Galaxy Opal and Pink Diamonds in this set, man. And as far as budget cards, this was by far, I would say, the best set that we've seen up to this point because all of these diamonds were serviceable, man. All of these diamonds you could run on your team at this point in the year. Same with these pink diamonds, to be honest. I mean, this set, pretty much every single card in this set was usable at this point, which is just absolutely insane. This Galaxy Opal Bronny James, a little bit mid. Some of these cards, a little bit mid, but still runnable. And then some of the budget cards, Alexei Pokachevsky, Eddie Curry, Robert Covington, just so good, man. And then this whole Flash set, this was kind of what they did for the Tuesdays for Season 6. There was really not a single card in this set that was like elite, like top tier. This set was so mid, man. Dark Matter Shangoon possibly could be the best card in this entire set, and he's really not even anything special. So, yeah, I'm just not too sure about the whole Flash thing, man. Those cards were so mid. And then we saw another big time power creep, another big time power shift with this Signature Series set, man, because we got by far the best card in the game up to this point. We got 100 overall Yao. He was like 10 million MT. He was like impossible to pull. Everybody was opening Hoth boxes and packs and everything to trying to get Yao, and everyone was pulling SGA. If they did get a 100 overall, Yao was just so rare. And then all of these Dark Matters for their time, man. Stephon Castle was really good for his time. So was AK. So was Zach LaVine. Gervin was a little bit mid. He would have been better if he could play the point guard. Pau Gasol wasn't really all that, but the other three were so good. And then Hassan Whiteside was a really good big first time. Galaxy Opal Whiteside. Omri Caspi, one of the best budget cards in the entire game at this point, man. And then even some of these diamonds. Like Mario Chalmers was super small, but he had one of the best releases in the entire game. So you could cook with him if you wanted to 3-hunt with him a little bit. So that was a pretty good set overall. I mean, all of these sets in Season 6 are pretty good, I would say. Then we move over to the Prime set, though. Both of these 100 overalls, I mean, for their time, they were okay, but a really big step down from the Signature Series 100 overalls. Neither one of these cards are nearly as good as SGA or Yao. So it was kind of a case where everyone was trying to pull Dark Matter Michael Beasley, who is also still a usable card to this day, man. Manu Ginobili was super good for his time. These other three a little bit mid. Dame I got right when the packs dropped out of the free 10 box, and I was able to cook with him a little bit for a time. He got outdated kind of quickly, but I was able to cook with him when I first got him. But Manu Ginobili, Michael Beasley, so elite. And then we move over into the Galaxy Opals. Cat and Roy Hibbert were both very good. Anthony Morrow was kind of a similar card to Omri Caspi from the previous drop, where he was just absolutely wet. A really good 3 and D type of card. And then we move over into the Pantheon set, man. These ones were also... Anthony Davis was super good for his time. That is what I will say, but he's outdated now. I probably wouldn't run him now, but he was so good for his time. As Cade Cunningham kind of was too, just because of his height. But then we move over to the Dark Matters. This Alexandre Sarr was super hyped up, and I think that he was pretty decent for his time at 7-1 at the power forward, but not a very good release on him, but he had a good player build and everything, and I don't know. People say that this card was horrendous. He was a little bit overhyped for sure, but I don't think he was necessarily too bad for his time. Dark Matter Luol Deng was really good. Then move over into the Opals, Pink Diamonds, and Diamonds. This Pink Diamond Tim Hardaway Jr., absolutely cash jumper on him. And then this Delano Banton. This was kind of the first budget big point guard that we saw. He's 6'8" at the point guard position. He does not move well at all. Doesn't really have the best animations in the world, but just the fact that he was 6'8" and had a pretty big player build, he was definitely one of the best budget point guards in the game. I actually badged one of these cards up, put a ton of legend badges on him, and kind of forgot about the whole auction house pending thing. So he sold for like 50K, and the sale didn't go through. So I ended up just having to sell him for the price that they were going for. So that was a big time L as far as that went. And then we move over to the Glish 100 overalls. Another situation where everyone, if they were pulling a 100 overall, were pulling Paulo. But Paulo was so good still, man. I mean, Ben Simmons was so rare, but even with Paulo being the way more common 100 overall, he was still so good. This was probably the best pack drop up to this point. As far as the depth of it, obviously, it doesn't have the best card. Yeah, was still the best card at this point, but I mean, Mark Eaton and Dikembe Mutombo, two top 5 bigs in the game at this point. Both cards are still runnable if they're badged up and they have a shoe and everything. Dark Matter Luka was basically just the 100 overall, pretty much the same card, so absolutely elite there. And then this Amen Thompson was also so good. And if people were pulling Dark Matters, they were pulling Alex English. He was the first Dark Matter buyout. He was definitely the troll pull. He was so much more common than all of these other Dark Matters, so that was kind of a little bit of an L. But then with the Galaxy Opals and Pink Diamonds in the set, none of the Opals were really very good at all. I think all of these Opals were pretty mid. But then we moved down to the Pink Diamonds. Sasha Vujacic, another just kind of shooter type card, really good shooting card. Anthony Black was a super good budget point guard as well at 6'7". And then these diamonds, actually, some people still run like Diamond Kendrick Perkins and Ryan Hollins in a salary cap setting. So still some cards that are usable for a setting like that. And then this out of position set. This was kind of the point in the year that I started to really work the auction house. So I got so much MT bid sniping, Onyeka, Kongwu, Beverly, and PJ Tucker. For some reason, the Nickeil Alexander-Walker, well, Jabari Smith was like 20k MT. He was like the rarest pink diamond. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker, for some reason, I think someone was bidding up just this card specifically for whatever reason. But Onyeka, Kongwu, Patrick Beverly, PJ Tucker, I made like almost a million MT this Friday that these packs dropped, man, because these packs were the most opened packs up to this point because everyone wanted Invincible LeBron, who was in this pack drop. And yeah, man, it was absolutely absurd. But this set is absolutely stacked as well. All of these diamonds were good for their time. Onyeka Kongwu was probably the worst pink diamond, but these other 4 pink diamonds were super good. And then we move up into the opals. Josh Hart was really bad, but the other 4 absolutely elite. And then in the dark matters, LaMarcus Aldridge, man, 6'11" at the shooting guard position, which is something that we really hadn't seen up to this point. This was kind of the he was kind of the counter for people that were going up against some of the elite cards that were out at this point, because he wasn't like crazy expensive, because we of course had these 100 overalls that were super expensive and then Invincible LeBron, but for his time, I think for his price, I don't remember him ever going for like over 500k MT or anything like that. I think he was like more like 300k or 200k, which for that price at that time, man, I think he was probably worth it if you had the capital to spend on him. This Risache card was decent. This Dominique Wilkins was definitely the troll Dark Matter. That's who everyone was pulling. But these other 4 Dark Matters, Draymond Green a little bit mid as well. Everyone was kind of looking for Karl Malone and LaMarcus Aldridge because they're just giant shooting guards. And they were both the most expensive Dark Matters. And then for the 100 overalls, both of these cards were so elite for their time, Larry and Scotty. And I actually pulled Larry out of a 100 overall pack. I think it was in season 7, like not too long after these packs dropped. So that was a huge W. He was still one of the better cards in the game at that point. And then we move into season 7. This Skylines drop was pretty hype when it first came out. But looking back, this is one of the worst pack drops of the entire year because all 3 of these 100 overalls went for a ton of MT, but they all ended up being horrible. And then really the only good card in this set, I would say, was Dark Matter Franz Wagner. And he was over 100k. He was really the only good card in this entire set, though. I think for this set, it was like Invincible Shaq and LaMelo. Both those cards, of course, absolutely elite for this time. And then the downtown set was kind of the Tuesday set for this season. And again, just super mid, man. Really the only good cards that we got out of the set, like none of these 100 overalls were anything special. This Artist Gilmore was really disappointing. And then we move down, though, we have Rick Smits, who was kind of one of the first big just giants that was actually somewhat affordable. So that was a huge W. And then Rick Barry was actually, I think he was in like the first Tuesday drop. So for his time, he was a good 3 hunting card, man. And I think he was probably worth his price on the auction house. And then the Vibe set. This set was actually a pretty big W. I ended up pulling, it was my first 100 overall out of just regular packs all year, man. I ended up pulling DeMarcus Cousins, but he was not he was kind of the one that I wanted at the time, either him and Glenn Rice. But looking back, he's probably the worst out of the 100 overalls. Lonzo Ball is not very good either. So I was very, very disappointed when I used this card. But Josh Smith, still a runnable card to this day. Glenn Rice, still a runnable card to this day, man. So big time W there. But then with the lower tiers in this set, very, very mid, man. I mean, some people liked like this Brad Miller, Nick Batum, and Asar Thompson, but I never really thought they were anything special. It was pretty much 100 overall or invincible or bust at this point. And then move on to the Splash Zone set. These cards, all three of these 100 overalls, with the exception of Steve Nash, these other three were super, super good for their time, but they got outdated very, very quickly. Brandon Ingram was a 6'10 shooting guard. So kind of a novelty type card, but looking back, like his release and stuff is really, really slow. He's not really usable in current times. Same with Jonathan Isaac, provided really, really good height at the small forward position at 6'10", really good player build, but just a horrible release. And then this Embiid card. This was kind of the 100 overall that everyone wanted, and for good reason, because for this time, he was so, so good. And then we actually had some pretty decent lower tier cards in this set, man. Vlad was like close to 200K and was the rarest dark matter, but he was absolutely elite, still probably usable to this day. Raja Bell and Josh Childress, so elite. Probably the two best budget cards up to this point, I would say. Raja Bell and Josh Childress, they were just so good, man. And then I think that the Invincibles in this set were Vince Carter, Devin Booker, and T-Mac. So everyone was kind of looking for T-Mac, who was like 5 million. And then we had this Champions drop. This is what kind of when we started to get another little bit of a power creep, I would say, man, with the just cards overall. The Dark Matter odds, I believe, went up for this pack drop a little bit. So it was easier to pull Dark Matters, and none of them were really all that desirable. All of them ended up going under 100K very, very quickly because everyone was just looking for these 100 overalls. And this was the worst example of weighted odds that we have seen thus far because there was 51 pack boxes, and literally, I am not even kidding you, I would say 14 out of 15 51 boxes, the 100 overall topper was Tony Parker. So people were pretty mad at this. There were some people ranting. There were some people that were pretty upset because we had Tony Parker, who was actually the first to buy now 100 overall because everybody was opening these packs for the 100 overall topper. They wanted LeBron, they wanted Giannis, they wanted Durant, but everyone was getting Tony Parker, so he ended up being super cheap, under 100K. These other three were like close to $1 million. So that was honestly kind of a little bit grimy on 2K's part. They could have easily just made the odds even and, you know, made the same amount of money, I would say. So I really don't know why they did something like that. But then we move over into the automatic set. All of these 100 overalls, very mid. Bobo was really expensive, but he was not a good card, even at the time. Really kind of the highlight of this set was Dark Matter Taco Fall. Now, he was so hyped up at the time. I don't really think that at the time, though, or even now, he gives you much more than Rick Smits. I think he is the better card, yes, but but still, though. I mean, this card was absolutely elite for the time. For a time, if you found one like with 40 legend badges on it and a shoe on it and everything, this card was well over $1 million MT if he was souped up a little bit, man. So he was definitely the highlight of this set. As far as budget cards, a little bit mid. People say that this Darius card was pretty good. I did use him a little bit. He was all right. This Reggie Theus card was actually very underrated too, because he's 6'6" at the point guard and honestly plays a little bit taller than that and has decent animations. So this card got a little bit overshadowed at the time. I think he was a little bit underrated. And then we move over into the draft pick set. Another situation, man, with the 100 overall topper. Wemby was just impossible to pull. Everyone was getting the other 4 100 overalls who were all decent in their own right. I mean, Kazi's still an unbelievable 3 hunting card. These other 3 are, you know, fringe top 100 cards in the game, all still usable if you really want to run them. But Wemby, of course, man, everybody wanted Wemby, and he was impossible to pull. He was like 5 million. Dark Matters, this Joe Smith was really good, and then this Purvis Ellison was also very good. Possibly the 2 best budget cards up to this point with those 2 at the small forward position. And then we moved on to Season 8, man. The last season, it was like 40%, or no, it was like 30 something percent odds for Dark Matters at this point. These sets only included 100 overalls and Dark Matters. So that was kind of what we were looking at with this. And I think the 100 overalls, it was like somewhere around like 3 or 4%. So people were pulling a lot of 100 overalls, man, because the odds were not that sub one. So yeah, man. But we had Bradley Beal was the cheapest 100 overall in the game just because he was undersized. Russ was okay at 6'3", but still not really anything special. But he was a little bit more expensive just because, it's Russell Westbrook, you know. But these two cards right here, Zach Randolph, Joakim Noah, were very, very good for their time. Joakim Noah, if he could play the small forward, would still be a pretty viable option, I would say. And then with the Dark Matters in this set, man, Tumani Kamara and Rudy Fernandez were both really, really good, and both also probably still runnable, to be honest with you. And then we move over into the Fireworks set. A little bit of a power creep right here as well, man, because we had, in this set, we had GOAT Giannis. Be nice if these pictures would load here, man. That'd be awesome. But we had GOAT Giannis. We had GOAT LeBron. And this was just, this was at the point where the power creep was getting insane because these Dark Matter Mo Bamba was absolutely insanely good in this game, man. 100 overall Jimmy Butler, not really the greatest card in the world now, but at the time, again, was super, super good. But Big Z and Lauri Markkanen, again, super, super weighted odds. Everyone was pulling Dominique Wilkins and Jimmy Butler, but everyone wanted Big Z and Lauri Markkanen, and they were both super, super rare. Zydrunas Ilgauskas was close to 1 million MT, and Lauri Markkanen was close to 500K. But both these cards are still so, so good in this game, man. So that's kind of who everybody was looking for, but they were the rarest cards. And then we move over into the glow set. Let me back out and see if maybe some of these pictures will load here, man. Yeah, there we go. So then we went to the glow set. Dark Matter Boris Diaw, he was a big old point guard at 6'8" with a giant player build, so he was a good option. Steve Smith was a good, like, just catch and shoot 3-and-D type of card. And this was interesting because Jason Richardson, Jalen Green, pretty mid type of cards. But Yijian Lian, Alonzo Mourning, the two hardest 100 overalls to pull, and they were both so, so good, man. But people actually thought at the time that Yijian Lian was better than Alonzo Mourning, but he absolutely was not, man. Like, Alonzo Mourning is the way better card. He was way cheaper, too, which was nice. Alonzo Mourning, still a very, very runnable card in this game at 6'10" with a giant player build at the small forward with a good release. So those two cards were the hardest to pull out of the 100 overalls. They were the two best. And then this is when we got GOAT Wemby. So, yeah, that's really all that I got to say there. And then the Conqueror set, man. This one was, Jeremy Sohan was a very similar card to Boris Diaw. Just a big old point guard. Alexei Pokashevsky and Matt Harpring could be probably the two best budget cards up to this point, man. These 100 overalls, though, this is when we started to see really, really mid 100 overalls. And it was kind of the same with this and the Tenacious packs, which dropped next, kind of the last two pack drops. Danilo Gallinari and Jamal Murray, super, super mid. Bobby Jones, super, super mid. Zubac was the best out of them. He's still runnable, but just really not anything special, man. Oh, we had the Rhythmic set, too. I forgot that set even existed, to be honest. So, yeah, then we had the Tenacious set. All four of these Dark Matters were runnable, I would say. Not anything special, but runnable. Jalen Rose, really, really good height at the point guard position, 6'8". He was a decent option. Domantas Sabonis is kind of similar to Joakim Noah, undersized for the power forward or center, but really, really good animations. Tyler Hero, one of the worst 100 overalls in the game. I don't know why they had to do my boy like this, man. I still kind of hold a grudge to 2K because of that, because why can't they just juice up Tyler Hero's animations, man? Make him fun to use. I don't know. Anton Jameson, one of the most underrated cards in the game to this day. I think by far the best card in this set, besides, of course, the Invincibles and GOATs, man. But then we move over into the Rhythmic set, the last promo of NBA 2k25 Myteam. Dark Matter Omri Caspi, by far the best budget card in the game up to this point, I would say. He was the best Dark Matter in this set. And then the 100 overalls, though, again, really, really mid. Charles Oakley's okay. Trevor Ariza is really, really mid. Juwan Howard's decent. I mean, just because he's 6'9" and he plays a little bit bigger than that at the small forward, so he's okay. Dyson Daniels, very, very similar card to Jalen Rose, who we got the week before. So this set, really not a whole lot to write home about. We did have Goat Kristaps, though, who, I mean, you can write home about him for sure. But yeah, that was the last pack drop of NBA 2K25 Myteam was a rhythmic set. So I look forward to seeing what they got coming for 2K26. Who's going to be, headlining this first promo here. I guess we could go ahead and make some predictions. I think that we're going to start off with pink diamonds again. That is my prediction. It is also very possible we start out with diamonds. We've seen it where they start out with amethyst before, but I don't think they're going to do that this year. I think it's either going to be diamonds or pink diamonds. I say probably about a 75% chance it's pink diamonds, about a 25% chance that it's diamonds for the highest tier in the first pack drop. And who do I think that we're going to see? Well, historically, at the beginning of the game, they love to give us Steph Curry, so we could see a diamond or a pink diamond Steph. We got him on the second week this year. We got him in the first week, 2K23. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we get a pink diamond Steph is my prediction for the first pack. Well, maybe not, though. Maybe they'll do like a diamond Steph. Maybe like a diamond Steph, and then we get like a pink diamond. They kind of waited a little bit on Jordan this year and the year before. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 96 overall Jordan, similar to this LeBron. I'm going to say we get a 94 overall Steph. And then I'm going to say that we get, it's probably going to have to be a big, because it'll be a guard, a forward with, or two guards with Jordan and Steph. So then I think we're also going to get a diamond, God, who would be a good prediction? Then I'm going to say that we're going to get a Diamond Shaq. That's who I'm thinking, man. Diamond Shaq, Diamond Curry, Pink Diamond Jordan for the three headlining cards. That's what I think we're going to get. And then for the lower tiers, I think maybe we get like 2 more diamonds. I don't know about 5 more or 6 more. Geez, I didn't. Well, these are all diamonds. So there was no amethyst or lower in the full throttle set, which is absolutely insane, man. I kind of forgot that that was the thing. But then some other cards that we could see day one. I mean, other than that, it's going to be completely random. But I think that those are going to be the 3 headliners. So I don't think that I'm going to hit it right on the money, but I bet that we get at least one of those cards on day one. One of either Steph, Shaq, or Jordan at a high tier. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Anyway, hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed looking back on 2K25 Myteam with me, man. Overall, a decent year. Definitely better than 2K24, but I don't think that it really was as good as anything from 2K19 to 2K23 at all. But it was better in 2K24, and 2K26 is looking like it could be better than 2K24 and 2K25. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to leave a like on the video. That really, really helps me out. And please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll keep bringing out a little bit of content like this sort of thing before 2K26 drops, which is right around the corner here. Just in a few days, man. So yeah, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe before you take off. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.